Hey guys, Banana Luck here and welcome back to another Watch Your Realms video. We have the anniversary banners coming up real soon with Ymiret and obviously the very nice 2x banner featuring Boris, Ares and Lucius. But today we're just going to focus on Anora and Ymiret here. So let's see where we can find it. New hero info, yeah, that's where we spot them, and let's look at that juicy video that Anora has. Yeah, turns out that's Imrat's tail. It's not actually some weird thing that you're thinking of.
My love, I'll give you more.
This demons actually look pretty cool. I think it would be nice if we actually get to see them in some content one day. Prelude stuff. There we go. I think this is a last level type of content. Not as apparent as last, but once you look at the video, then yeah, you know what Munton is trying to get at. So Anora, really cool hero kit. It's gonna be one of the very first summon based heroes who basically boosts all the summons that the team actually gets out, which is why she pairs really well with the Accessories team. I don't think counters as much, and mainly with Cyrus, because when an ally defeats or retreats, is defeated or retreats, increase damage of other faction members by 25% for 8 seconds. And this refers to summons as well, if I'm not wrong, which is why it makes her such an amazing pick if, let's say, you pair with a Esotericist Lord like Cyrus. And look at talent, when deployed, summons Labor, and Hero and Labor permanently gains Sanctity. Hope I pronounced that correctly. And basically that means that they are immune to all buffs and debuffs as well. I think lots of content creators have gone out to test this extensively to see what she is and she isn't immune to. Seems like things like Hollow and Eloin's rage regen, those she's immune to, but Laurel's rage regen, when you dismiss her and get that 50% back, that seems to still work out. And Labor is basically a mini Ymiret and inherits 100% of her stats and assists her to attack enemies in range. Each attack deals 90% AoE magic damage up to 8 enemies. And if we look at Anora, same thing. You actually get it up to 100% AoE magic damage on both Ymiret and herself, mini Ymiret, sorry. And for her, it's up to 5 enemies. For Ymiret, it's up to 8. And second passive, when attacking, Labor has a 10% chance to generate Noxious Breath. What does this do? Deals 20% magic damage per second to up to 8 units in range, and airborne units take half the damage instead, which is a trait of most of the counters units that we know. And when ultimate is triggered, she triggers Noxious Breath immediately, and this trigger chance can go up to 20%. Basically just some extra attack for her. Then when on the battlefield, increases the attack of Labor by 10% and grants damage increase to all other allied summons, and this damage increase goes up to 15%. And then her bond skill with Ymiret, obtain Ymiret to unlock the following bonus effect: summons Labor Ice instead of Labor, and difference is same thing, deals 15% increased damage to controlled enemies. Not sure if control here means like stuns and whatnot, or does it mean like a puppet master thing? But I would think it's the stuns and whatnot. And damage goes up to 110% instead. With the maxed out passive, it's going to be 120% and 30% chance to inflict Winter's Bite for 3 seconds. And if I'm not wrong, Winter's Bite, if we get to Ymiret's skill later, I think when it builds up to 3 stacks, you basically inflict freeze. And I know that because of the new event chapter stage 10, where you have to have lots of dispel to get things going. And her ultimate, when activated, Labor immediately deals 360% AoE magic damage up to 10 enemies in range and increases his damage by 110% during the ultimate, and this damage increase goes up to 150%. And and the cost is at 900, which is pretty alright. So very simple kid, if I can be honest. Obviously, the devs have responded why she's immune to buffs. It's because she's essentially two heal units in one. She attacks and labor attacks at the same time, so that's 2 times the number of attacks. And cost-wise, we're looking at 22 and pretty decent attack actually, 4.8k. I think it's not too low at all. It's actually probably one of the higher ones. And let's take a look at Awakenings. Even though she's a limited summon, when Noxious Breath is generated, it immediately inflicts an immobilized state on up to 8 enemies in range. So I think that pairs really well with her ultimate, where, you know, was it this one? Where was it? Okay, it's the bond skill where, you know, she does 15% increased damage to control enemies. So that's nice. 300 attack, 50% of magic resistance ignored, 8% penetration, and enemies on tiles affected by Noxious Breath receive 20% increased damage from both the hero and labor. So let's see. Where's the increased damage? So they say that there's increased damage. Oh, okay, it's 20% increased damage when they get Noxious Breath on them. So Noxious Breath deals 20% damage, whereas Awaken 5 means that, you know, there'll be 20% extra damage on top of that. So very simple kit, if I can be honest. It's just damage on top of damage. If you were to ask me though, she seems like a pretty average mage until the day that we see her useful in some content where, you know, there's lots of debuffs going on. And since Anora is immune to that, then, you know, she's going to be really, really great there. But probably need to pair her with some healers for that to make sense, because without a healer, she's going to die anyways. So that's Anora. Very interesting summon mechanics going on. Let's hope that we actually get more clarification on which summons work for her for boosting, and, you know, hopefully we get more heroes like this in the near future. Next one is gonna be Ymiret, right here. So video-wise, it's just gonna be from Ymiret's perspective. Yeah, so it's underwater, obviously. So no tentacle action this time, just eyes cracking. Still some 3D movements going on. And this time we see him using his ultimate, I think. So yeah, Ymiret doesn't talk at all. Very nice intro video. Okay, so Ymiret from the unnamed faction, but this time around it's no longer a mage, it's actually a fighter, and obviously, you know, he does physical damage, if I'm not wrong. Does he? Am I wrong? Because it actually says 80%. Okay, we're not sure. Flexible damage type. So I've seen that floating around for some time, so let's take a look at his kit. Maybe it'll be proof different. First of all, stats-wise, 17k HP, 4.7k stats. That's pretty average for fighters. Well, with someone like Adea with 8k stats, fighters are really underwhelming when it comes to attack. So let's take a look at his kit. Maybe you can see where he shines. So when deployed, unleashes Boreal Winds, inflicting slow on all enemies within 2 tiles and extending the effect duration of freeze on them by 50 seconds up to a maximum duration extension of 1.5 seconds. And he gains freeze immunity. So that's great, especially for the new content, the event stage, obviously. Then basic attack deals 80% AoE damage to the target and their surrounding enemies. It's hitting up to 5 enemies, and this goes up to 100%, obviously. And second passive, when targeting enemies inflicted with freeze, ignores 15% of their defense, and when Winter's Bite on any enemy triggers freeze, so this is the one, 3 stacks, inflicts freeze on the target for 2 seconds, and does not apply to targets already inflicted with freeze. And yeah, whenever that happens, he deals an extra magic damage ranging from 80 to 360% based on the effect duration of the triggered freeze. So basically the freezes that he does, I will assume 3.5 seconds, that's the longest one at 360%. And this magic damage reaches its maximum when the effect duration, oh okay, so you need 4.5 seconds of freeze. So we need to have a look at his kit further on to see if he even has 4.5 seconds of freeze. So extra damage multiplier that goes all the way up to 380%, and then it's a maximum of 25% penetration increase, which is nice. Something like what we see in Boris kit-wise. And when deployed, gains 4 stacks of skill armor. When possessing skill armor, deals higher damage to closer enemies up to a maximum increase of 20%. And when receiving damage, loses 1 stack of skill armor, and up to 1 stack can be lost every second. When ultimate ends, restore skill armor to the max stack, and the armor stack goes up to 6. Damage increase goes up to 30%. So meaning every stack is going to be like what? 5%? Sorry, 6% if I'm not wrong. No, sorry, 5%. Yeah, first one was right. And obviously his faction bonus for being an enablement unit increases team members' damage by 4%. And then his bond skill, which I feel is a lot more interesting. There's a 20% chance to inflict an extra stack of Winter's Bite. When Ymiret receives fatal damage for the first time, he transforms into a dragon egg before his rage cleared. And this inherits 50% of his max HP, reduces block by 1, and since it's a fighter that goes to 1, and he stops gaining rage. If he's killed, he deals 200% AoE damage to up to 10 adjacent enemies and inflicts freeze for 1 second. If not killed within 20 seconds, the hero revives, and this only takes place one time, obviously. So, very interesting kit. I think it's probably the first in the game where we see a revival thing going on. And then his ultimate, Frozen Tempest, when activated, ascends into the air, expanding attack range and reducing block to 0. Basic attack now turns into Frost Breath, dealing 140% AoE magic damage to the target and their surrounding enemies, and inflicting 1 stack of Winter's Bite on them. And allies within the talent range receive freeze immunity during the effect's duration. So probably supporting all the fighters that are next to him. And this damage increase the damage for the AoE goes up to 180%, and duration goes up to 20 seconds, skill cost goes down to 900. Pretty average stats, but I see this is where the flexible damage type comes in. So he does both magic and physical damage. Physical damage in his basic attack kit, and when he does his ultimate, it's going to be magic damage. We can possibly foresee him being used in Gear Dungeon 2 just for that. Not sure if he has, enough damage to actually do that, because the Volca clones are really tanky, and depending on how much freeze he does, he might be able to get there. Because, okay, the freeze is 2 seconds here, and the extension is only up to 1.5 seconds. Yeah, so... And it's a 50% increase, so that means that if Winter's Bite is doing 2 seconds, it only goes up to 3 seconds. I'm honestly not sure if anyone else in the game does way more freeze than that, but we can just take a look quickly. Let's cross this out. Gallery. So we have a few folks in the game that do freeze. Brokia is one of them. Take a look. 1 second, that's really short. More as well with his ultimate. I think it's, 3 seconds. Okay, so More probably pairs really well with him. 4.5 seconds of freeze. And then we have Mari as well right over here. Ultimate freeze. 3 seconds. Okay, so obviously Mari More will pair really well with Ymiret in terms of the freeze that he does. And now let's go back to look at his awakenings and wrap up this video. Announcements, game news, and let's go here. So when ultimate is triggered, deals 280% damage to maximum of 10 enemies and inflicts freeze on them for 2 seconds. Extra damage going on, and also like some CC that you can trigger at demand. And then this is the standard for enablement units. When ultimate is not activated, 30% chance for basic attack to triggers Winter's Bite. Additionally, the effect duration of Winter's Bite within the talent range is increased by 2 seconds. So I guess this is where he starts to, be able to make full use of his talent. The one that does damage varying based on, freeze duration. Bridge Regen, A5, casting the ultimate 2 times increases the range of subsequent ultimates. We won't be able to know this unless we have him at A5, unfortunately, because probably not going to get him there. So yeah, really interesting kit. Magic and physical damage in one hero. Obviously, he's going to see some use someday, especially in faction trials, obviously. But for now, he is a lot unit, so it's probably going to be pretty tough to get him. So Anora right here, very straightforward. Argent Summoning, 15% increased drop rate and guaranteed within 250 summons. So make sure you do that PD manipulation trick, which I'll share in another video. And then we have this one as well for Ymiret during the event. Taxania heroes will enjoy a 15x drop rate. So we have Valdoron and Ymiret in here. So obviously both of them are lot tier rarity. Lots of people are going to be pulling for Valdoron. I'm no any ancient PD, but I'm still going to hold out and wait for Praetors instead because I already have Gun. So yeah, that's gonna be it for the video. Obviously, Anora is a limited hero. I would go for the summon if I have the resources, just for the fact that one day I might actually pull Ymiret, and I need that bond skill that he has, because that bond skill is pretty nutty. 20% chance to inflict an extra stack of Winter's Bite, which means that you get the freeze off way earlier on. And yeah, that's going to be it for the video. If you ask me, yeah, those are the reasons of why I would summon. If you don't have enough, then yeah, it's probably more worthwhile to try on this 2x 15x banner, which is pretty nutty as well. So that's going to be it for the video. Pretty long one, but we needed to go through the heroes kit. And yeah, that's going to be it for the video. If you have any questions, whether you should summon, or any comments you have on the heroes kit and where you could potentially see use for them in the future, feel free to leave it down in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.